G'day there, guys. It's Munga Trillionaire here, and it's time for the Daily Diary. Your favourite time of day and my favourite time of day. Should probably try and hold that up. So, I was thinking of a few things that annoy me in today's world. One of them, this is something I heard, which I just think is ridiculous. So the hospital, right? Every year they put up this big Christmas tree, a big star on top of the hospital. Apparently, so this year they're not doing it because they don't want to offend any of the Muslim doctors or something like that, and the Muslim people in the community. I think that's ridiculous. I, for one, could care less really much for Christmas, but to not celebrate something that's in this country, like Christianity, Christmas being the Christian holiday, to not celebrate it because you don't want to offend another religion is ridiculous when it's in your own country. Like, since when since when was it offensive to be a proud Australian in Australia? That's my problem, because if you've heard all about it being offensive to fly the Australian flag on Australia Day, because it might offend someone. Who the hell is that going to offend in Australia on Australia Day? It shouldn't offend anyone. And if it does, why are these people in Australia? Like, I don't have a problem with, visitors to the country or people coming here seeking a better life. They've moved here, they've got a job, they've, started a family and all that, or asylum seekers, refugees and all that. Like, I don't have a problem with it, but if you come to Australia and you get offended by what Australia is, then maybe you should reconsider your place in the country. Because that's just ridiculous. Why can't you celebrate it being Australian in Australia? That's what annoys me today. What's the world coming to? What's Australia coming to? Where are we going as a nation? Like the kangaroo and the emu were used as symbols. They can't walk backwards. That's why we have them on our coat of arms. They're Australian natives that can't walk backwards. They can only move forwards. And as a country, well, what are we doing? That's just one thing. There's a lot of other things in this country that just aren't right. Like, it was a few weeks ago now, whoever is in charge of New South Wales, sold our telecommunication lines and our something other, our electricity lines, I think, to a foreign company. Why would you do that? Because now we don't own it. It's the same as, all these farms that are getting bought by the Chinese and whatever out in the middle of Australia. Why are you just selling? I don't have a problem with someone buying property. Anyone can buy property, but people usually buy property to do something with it. These are Australian farms or whatever that are just getting bought, and they're just going to mine it. What about, food security? That's the thing. Oh well, I don't want to get too political on the subject because that's not what I do, but I tell you, it's about time people started looking out and seeing what's going on. Oh, this is the other one. Bunnings. People, they cook sausages or bacon egg rolls down at Bunnings. Some groups aren't cooking bacon with their eggs, so they're just having egg rolls because they're not cooking bacon because they don't want to offend anyone. That's also ridiculous. Cooking food shouldn't offend someone. Doesn't matter what the food is. Pig is, in Australia, is a very commonly eaten animal. Pork, bacon, all of it. Ham. Christmas and ham. But no, you can't do that because you'll offend someone. You're not allowed to be a proud Australian in Australia anymore. And that's what I have a problem with. Peace, love, and Mustafa. It's a good show, and I've got the Apple, and I'm worried about where Australia's going.